we're going to do a story by M.R. James called There Was a Man Who Dwelt by a Churchyard. It's from 1924. It's about a naughty sexton. Sexton is like the person that takes care of, the grave, whatever. Okay. This, is the beginning of the story about sprites and goblins, which Mamilius, the best child in Shakespeare, was telling to his mother, the queen. And the court ladies when the king came in with his guards and hurried her off to prison. There's no more of the story. Mamilius died soon after without having a chance of finishing it. Now, what was it going to have been? Shakespeare knew, no doubt, and I will be bold to say that I do. It was not going to be a news story. It was going to be one which you have most likely heard and even told. Everybody may set it in what frame he likes best. This is mine. There was a man who dwelt by a churchyard. His house had a lower story of stone and an upper one of timber. The front windows looked out on the street and the back ones on the churchyard. It had once belonged to the parish priest, but this was in Queen Elizabeth's days. The priest was a married man and wanted more room. Besides, his wife disliked seeing the churchyard at night out of her bedroom window. She said she saw, but never mind what she said. Anyhow, she gave her husband no peace till he agreed to move into a larger house in the village street. An old one was taken by John Poole, who was a widower and lived there alone. He was an elderly man who kept very much to himself, and people said he was something of a miser. It was very likely true. He was morbid in other ways, certainly. In those days it was common to bury people at night and by torchlight, and it was noticed that whenever a funeral was toward, John Poole was always at his window, either on the ground floor or upstairs, according as he could get the better view from one or the other. There came a night when an old woman was to be buried. She was fairly well-to-do, but she was not liked in the place. The usual thing was said of her, that she was no Christian, and that on such nights as Midsummer, even All Hallows, she was not to be found in her house. She was red-eyed and dreadful to look at, and no beggar ever knocked at her door. Yet when she died, she left the purse money of the church. There was no storm on the night of her burial. It was fair and calm. But there was some difficulty about getting bearers and men to carry the torches, in spite of the fact that she had left larger fees than common for such as did that work. She was buried in woolen without a coffin. No one was there but those who were actually needed, and John Poole watching from his window. Just before the grave was filled in, the parson stooped down and cast something upon the body. Something that clinked, and in a low voice it said words that sounded like, "Thy money perish with thee." Then he walked quickly away, and so did the other men, leaving only one torchbearer to light the sexton and his boy while they shoveled the earth in. They made no very neat job of it, and the next day, which was a Sunday, the churchgoers were rather sharp with the sexton, saying it was the untidiest grave in the yard. And indeed, when he came to look at it himself, he thought it was worse than he had left it. Meanwhile, John Poole went about with a curious air, half exulting, as it were, half nervous. More than once he spent an evening at the inn, which was clean contrary to his usual habit. And to those who fell into talk with him there, he hinted that he had come into a little bit of money, and was looking out for a somewhat better house. "Well, I don't wonder," said the Smythe one night. "I shouldn't care for that place of yours. I should be fancying things all night." The landlord asked him what sort of things. "Well, maybe someone climbing up to the chamber window, or the like of that," said the smith. "I don't know, old Mother Wilkins that was buried a week ago today, eh?" "Come, I think you might consider a person's feelings," said the landlord. "It ain't so pleasant for Master Poole, is it now?" "Master Poole don't mind," said the smith. "He's been there long enough to know. I only says it wouldn't be my choice. With what the passing bell and the torches, when there's a burial and all them graves laying so quiet, when there's no one about. Only they say there's lights. Don't you ever see lights, Master Poole?" "No, I don't never see no lights," said Master Poole sulkily, and called for another drink and went home late. That night, as he lay in his bed upstairs, a moaning wind began to play about the house, and he could not go to sleep. He got up and crossed the room to a little cupboard in the wall. He took out of it something that clinked and put it in the breast of his bedgown. Then he went to the window and looked out into the churchyard. Have you ever seen an old brass in a church with the figure of a person in a shroud? It is bunched together at the top of the head in a curious way. Something like that was sticking up out of the earth in a spot of the churchyard where John Poole knew very well. He darted into his bed and lay there very still indeed. Presently something made a very faint rattling at the casement. With a dreadful reluctance, John Poole turned his eyes that way, and alas! Between him and the moonlight was the black outline of a curious bunched head. Then there was a figure in the room. Dry earth rattled on the floor. A low, cracked voice said, "Where is it?" And steps went hither and thither, faltering steps as of one walking with difficulty. It could be seen now and again peering into the corners, stooping to look under chairs. Finally, it could be heard fumbling at the doors of the cupboard in the wall, throwing them open. There was a scratching of long nails on the empty shelves. The figure whipped round, stood for an instant at the side of the bed, raised its arms, and with a hoarse scream of, "You've got it!" At this point, H.R.H. Prince Mamilius, who would, I think, have made the story a good deal shorter than this, flung himself with a loud yell upon the youngest of the court ladies present, who responded with an equally piercing cry. He was instantly seized upon by H.M. Queen Hermione, who, repressing an inclination to laugh, shook and slapped him very severely. Much flushed and rather inclined to cry, he was about to be sent to bed, but on the intercession of his victim, who was now recovered from the shock, he was eventually permitted to remain until his usual hour for retiring, by which time he too had so far recovered as to assert, in bidding good night to the company, that he knew another story quite 3 times as dreadful as that one, and would tell it on the first opportunity that offered. That was Emma James' There Was a Man Who Dwelt by a Churchyard from 1924. So, let's get the cards. Let me give them a good shuffle while we're doing our thingamajiggy. So, it's not a bad story. It's not my favorite by him, obviously. I don't want to say, like, M.R. James has a lot of good stories. Not that this is not good, but it's not, like I said, my favorite. I think I really like The Haunted Doll's House. I mean, I like all of them. The Ash Tree. There'll be Guests at the Hall. I've done all of them. I think after this, there's only 3 left. The Wailing Well, something about Plainfields, and then what's the other one? The Uncommon Prayer Book. So I do have those on my list to do, and I will probably get to them, but I also want to do this Black Spider one and Lois the Witch by Elizabeth Gaskell. I found that one today. I was going through looking at like what I wanted to do next, and the Black Spider, and then the Willows, and the Great God Pan I'm going to put into an anthology, but I had to record the Spider one, which is going to take like 3 hours. Maybe you can tell my voice is starting to get a little... I've been narrating every day for like probably 6 to 8 hours, I'd say. I mean, because I told you I have done 8 to 12 hours in a day, like several days in a row, but then after that I usually rest. And I'm not narrating all the time, but I have done a lot of narration. I think since Thursday. Well, yeah, no, now it's been a week. But like I said, the past couple of days. Yesterday did I narrate? Okay, I did it like one story yesterday for like an hour. And like most of today, I was like not really narrating. I watched Dracula again earlier. I was going to watch High Spirits, but I just have had too much to do. So I didn't watch it again, but I'll watch it again soon. I opened up another store called Pomegranate Manor with like the Tudor witchy stuff, so it's like... I still have my other stores too, but it's just, I'm just trying to like hit different niches. And so, you know, that, I was up from like 4 to 7 this morning, I think. And then I slept for like an hour or two, but then it was just like, yeah, it's always something. Ace of Swords. Okay, no, Ace of Wands. Oh my God, see, I'm like little, you go set up like another friggin' store in like a day, and then it's so much work. Ace of Wands is upright, so that's like some type of spark or something. Death is coming up upright. That means there's like some type of change, like a process, like it's like a transformation. It's not like physical death. Knight of Pentacles is reversed, so that's like the knight wants to come forward, but like it's like blocked by like fear or like freezing emotionally, or feeling like not good enough. 8 of Swords upright, that kind of goes in place with the Knight of Pentacles, freezing, because this is like someone thinks that they have like chains on them, but it's all self-imposed. So that's 8 of Swords upright. So that is 4 cards, and then we'll do one more. I usually do 5. 6 of Pentacles is reversed, so there's like blocked generosity, which kind of makes sense with all this stuff. So it's because it's like there's like an idea, a spark of something, and then it gets like fear or like thinking not good enough, which is not true, but you know, a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So there's some type of change going on, so maybe that's rattling too, because it's like, oh boy, All right, let me just, I'm going to have these in the order that I pulled them. Was the night after or before? No, the night was before the swords, right? Death, then the knight reversed, Knight of Pentacles reversed, and the Eight of Swords upright, and then the Six of Pentacles reversed. So, we have those. I pulled your cards. I have 10,000 more stories to do. Hopefully my voice holds up. And I was actually like, I want to maybe at some point do singing, but I don't know. I'm a little afraid to. Like a karaoke thing or something. I was singing that song today. What was it called? Take My Breath Away by Berlin. I love that song. And she has such a beautiful voice. That's a great song. And actually, like you talk about ghosts, that song is like in the video. It's like they're like ghosts in the airfield. So I'll see you on the next video.